do this remotely, and I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Director Quady, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Raising colors, pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Director Quady, for leading us in that Pledge of Allegiance. Can we go ahead and start with a roll call, please?
Director Quady.
Here.
Director McMillan. Here. Director Pacala.
Yes.
Director Robert.
Here.
Director Avila.
Here. Okay, thank you very much for doing that. Do we have members of the public in attendance today?
We do.
Okay. This portion of the agenda may be utilized by any member of the public to address the board of directors on any matter within the jurisdiction of the board that does not appear on the agenda and on matters that are on the agenda but are not designated as action items. Depending on the subject matter, the board of directors may be unable to respond at this time or until the specific topic is placed on the agenda at a future Calleguas board meeting. In accordance with the Ralph M. Brown Act, please limit remarks to 3 minutes. Please raise your hand if you would like to make public comment. Okay, do we have any members of the public in person who would like to make a comment?
You're on a specific item. So we'll take it at that time of the item. Yeah, we do have a request to speak on item 7B, so we'll just need to make sure to take public comment at that.
Okay. Okay, with that being said, we are moving to item 3, items to be added to the agenda. Do we have any items to be added to the agenda?
No.
Okay. Has the board had time to review the agenda?
Yes, we did.
Any recommendations or requests on changes to the agenda? No.
Changes, I do have questions on consent agenda items.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Director Pacala. And moving on to presentations. First up, we have item A, presentation of Jose Tamayo's promotion to distribution system supervisor and Jared Uribe's promotion to system maintenance supervisor.
Yes, Matt Gomez, our assistant manager of O&M, will be handling this item.
All right. Good evening. I'm pleased to introduce 2 employees who have recently been promoted to supervisory positions here at the district. Both individuals are longstanding members of our organization and bring valuable experience, strong work ethic, and a deep understanding of our operations. These positions were filled through a competitive recruitment process, and both candidates distinguished themselves throughout the process. First, Jose Tamayo has been selected as our new distribution system supervisor. Jose has 32 years of experience working at Calleguas, and for the past 5 years, he has served as a distribution crew leader. He holds a water distribution operator grade 4 certification and a water treatment operator grade 2 certification. One outstanding characteristic of Jose is his consistent reliability and his strong ownership at every task he takes on. Next, I'd like to introduce Jared Uribe. Jared began his career here in 2019 as a maintenance worker 1. In 2001, he was promoted to senior crew leader of system maintenance, and he has now been selected as our new system maintenance supervisor. Jared brings a proactive attitude and a strong work ethic and a can-do spirit. Very happy to have both Jose and Jared new positions and look forward to their continued contributions to the district.
Thank you.
Would you like to say anything?
I just want to thank the board for having us here today. I want to thank everybody in management for all the support. Everybody in O&M has shown great support for my promotion. I truly appreciate it, and I look forward to working with everyone here at the district. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
As
for me, I'm super excited. Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jared. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I just want to say I'm excited for my new role here, and I look forward to contributing at a higher level. And I don't plan on letting anybody down here. Thank you.
All right. Congratulations, Jose and Jared. You guys have done an exemplary job, and exemplary employees. Thank you. Do we have comments by the board?
Well, I just want to thank both of them for moving ahead in the career. Congratulations to both of you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations. Hey, thank you. Up next, we have a recognition of Chris Naster, Cross Connection Control Specialist for certification as an American Waterworks Association Cross Connection Specialist.
Good afternoon, board members. I'm happy to sit in front of you and recognize Chris Naster for achieving his Cross Connection Specialist certification at the American Waterworks Association. In early 2024, the state changed their regulations from the Title 17 requirements for backflows protection and cross connection protection to the new cross connection handbook. With that, a lot of organizations had to change their path, and the County of Ventura changed theirs, which they were the supporting role for certification. That meant that Calleguas had to figure out how we're going to manage our own program. We promoted Chris last year. He quickly achieved his cross connection tester certification, and which not an easy task. He attended the USC backflow prevention school, completed that. And recently he completed the American Waterworks Association certification for cross connection specialist. Your program has to have a specialist or you have to hire out. We do have somebody on board to help us until Chris got his certification. Doesn't mean we're going to punt them out of the way just yet, but it's a way for the district to take ownership of the program and also save us quite a bit in our budget as well. So there are not a lot of people who are certified with this specialist, and I would say the wait is astronomically crazy on how long people are waiting to take this. So we're fortunate that Chris has been able to do this in such a short period of time. So congratulations, Chris.
Thanks so much. Just want to say a few words. I appreciate all the support that I've gotten from Calleguas over the few years here. Transitioning from water treatment and distribution operator into the cross connection role has been exciting. I'm excited to learn the new knowledge and the new requirements of the cross connection control policy handbook and apply those to Calleguas. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Omar and Chris. Chris, congratulations on your certification. It's incredible to have that capability for the district. So thank you very much for doing that. Any comments by the board?
Mr. President, I just have a question for our operations manager. How many cross connection specialists do we have now within Calleguas family?
One.
Congratulations. So we are looking to have more of our employees take this test?
For the cross connection tester, yes. Under Chris's certification as a cross connection specialist, he can oversee some staff to perform the work and do the reporting to the state. So there'll be different levels of testing, but as far as a specialist, he may be the only one for a little while.
If some of our purveyors are not able to get their testing done on time, would we help them and they pay for it?
We would probably help them in providing them the path to be able to achieve that, or even giving them the list of approved specialists within the state that they can contract to.
Okay, thank you.
For some reason, I remember USC having something to do with this program as well. Am I mixing up programs between USC and AWWA?
Well, no. The USC program is the prerequisite to being able to go and take the American Waterworks Association. So that has changed a little bit, where before you would go and get your certification through USC. But because of the state regulations, now most people are going through the American Waterworks Association.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Omar. Okay, and lastly, for the presentations, we have item C, recognition of Kat Errett, Senior Communications Specialist for her 2026 Emerging Leader Award from the Simi Valley Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, Charlotte,
Congratulations.
our manager of external affairs will handle this one.
Great. Good afternoon, directors. Well, once again, Calleguas Senior Communications Specialist Kat Errett has been honored by our community for her many contributions. You may recall that last year she was named one of the 40 under 40 outstanding individuals in the county by the Greater Conejo Valley Chamber of Commerce for her leadership and service. And this year, she was recognized as the Emerging Leader of the Year by the Simi Valley Chamber of Commerce. Kat was presented with this honor for being deeply involved, highly capable, and consistently willing to serve. She's been active with a number of organizations, including Rotary, Seroptimist, ELFs, many others, and she leads by showing up, helping wherever is needed, and making a difference without asking for anything in return. And she really brings this same spirit of service and leadership to her role here at Calleguas. She's game for any assignment. She can pivot on a dime, and she does whatever it takes to get the job done. And when it comes to leading on planning events or hosting tour groups, Kat has no equal. She executes flawlessly, always with a special touch and very thoughtful details. She's become a trusted resource for me in external affairs and a true team player to her colleagues here. So last month, Assistant Manager of O&M, Matt Gomez, and I had the pleasure of attending the Simi Valley Chamber of Commerce Salute to Excellence Awards Banquet to watch Kat receive her well-deserved honor. Her acceptance speech was very gracious, and she even made a water joke. So Kat, on behalf of all of us here at Calleguas, congratulations on your award. Please come to the podium and let us see it and say a few words if you like.
And tell the water.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, and we wanna hear the water joke. Congratulations, Kat.
Yeah, I know. It was like I had everyone raise their glasses because they had water on the table. So it's like when you see that opportunity, you got to take it. But this is the award that I received, and I just want to say thank you for Charlotte and Matt for coming. And I know that everyone's been so supportive. It's very humbling to have this. So when you have attention like this, it's not something I typically like. I'm a behind the scenes person, but I think this is like everybody that's helped along the way. So thank you so much for your support. I truly appreciate it. And even acknowledging this at a meeting, this is like above and beyond anything you ever have to do. So thank you.
Congratulations, everyone. Congratulations, Kat. What an incredible job you've done. I do gotta say, I know I'm not here, so it's strange for me to ask this, but do we want to do a picture with all the with Jose and Jared and Chris and Kat? Board picture?
Yeah, Kat usually takes the pictures, so we're gonna have to get creative here. Yeah.
Wait till the board meeting.
Then we gotta make everybody come back who doesn't usually. On everyone's idea of best people's tower. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Any honor, sir?
I'm just gonna give you this.
I don't have to.
Yeah, if you need to center yourselves more. And maybe the Director McMillan, maybe you can be in front of the sign too, just because you don't block as much of it as some of the other recorders.
Right on the side.
I know. You can't see this, board members online, but there's a real camera involved, so.
Yep.
Not a real camera person.
There you go. Staying case, pretty sure. Okay, here.
All right.
One more. Thanks, everybody. Not like glasses. It looks like those ones with the cube glasses.
Congratulations,
Yes,
everyone.
very well.
Thank you for everything you all do. Okay. Up next, we have the consent calendar.
Yes, and
And
staff does have a presentation for item B.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the presentation for item B. And then we'll go to board questions or comments on all the other items.
Yeah, so Fernando Baez, our manager of engineering, will be taking the lead on this, but he is joined by Jennifer Trebo, assistant general manager from Ventura Water, to provide the city's perspective. Obviously, they are a critical partner in this project.
Great. Good afternoon, Board of Directors. So we do have a presentation for item B under consent calendar, and I will start off and then hand off over to Jennifer, and I'll wrap up this presentation here. So I'll start with a little bit of background on this project, the Calleguas-Ventura interconnection. Calleguas, as you all know, has limited sources and limited stored imported water available during outages, while Ventura, on the other hand, has a variety of sources. The city of Ventura has state water project entitlement of 10,000 acre feet per year, but does not have a connection to access their state water project water. Calleguas, Ventura, and United Water Conservation District recently entered into an agreement for the Calleguas-Ventura interconnection project. A little bit more on the project. Here is an aerial showing the project, which is basically a pipeline that will connect Calleguas' system to the city of Ventura. It is composed of a 30-inch diameter welded steel pipeline, approximately 41,000 linear feet. Calleguas' portion is a little smaller than Ventura's at 19,000 linear feet, while Ventura's is just shy of 22,000 linear feet. The capacity of this pipeline, when Calleguas is delivering water to Ventura, we would be able to move approximately 20.8 cubic feet per second water to the city, while the city would be able to deliver water to us at 14.7 cubic feet per second. So again, this aerial shows the pipeline. The yellow is Calleguas' portion of this project, and the green is the city's responsibility. Now, this interconnection is critical for reliability and resiliency to our system. All water resource planning, the water supply alternative study, as well as risk, has included this interconnection project. The interconnection could be a critical source under lengthy outage conditions when water stored at Lake Bart is depleted. And unlike the LV interconnection, water could be available when imported water supplies are interrupted. So huge benefit there. Now, I'd like to just quickly touch on the creativity and ingenuity that went into managing some costs on this project. So to avoid having to build a pump station that would move water from the city of Ventura to our system, as this exhibit here on the right here shows, we are connecting to our system at two locations. Here, the location on the right side of this hydraulic exhibit, we would be connecting to the high pressure side of our system upstream of the Springville Hydro. So when we need to deliver and wheel water to the city of Ventura, we would be supplying water from the high pressure side. Now, when Ventura is delivering water to Calleguas, water would be discharged or deposited into the Springville Reservoir, which is at a lower pressure zone. So that was how we were able to avoid some additional costs to build a pump station. I also like to note that staff successfully pursued multiple grant opportunities, and the project was awarded approximately $6.5 million in grants by DWR. And as I mentioned, the water supply alternative study and the risk verified that this is a cost-effective approach relative to other potential projects and sources. So a quick note on the status of our project here. Construction needs to commence as soon as possible to be able to meet the grant schedule requirements. Design has been completed and we are ready to bid. We also recently were granted an easement from the Recreational and Park District. And we are working on the other easements on private lands and are in negotiations. And when those easements are ready, they will be brought for the board's consideration. And Ventura is already in the bidding process on their portion of the project. And with that, I'm gonna hand it over to Jennifer so she can speak on that.
Okay. All right. So the city's portion of the pipeline is primarily the 30-inch steel pipe. We also have a 24-inch HDPE pipe that will be horizontal directional drilling across the Santa Clara River, underneath Santa Clara River. And then we have some PVC pipe throughout the portions of the city. And we're also doing a flow control station and a chemical feeding facility at one of our existing living stations. As Fernando mentioned, we advertised our bid in mid-March. We had our pre-bid meeting yesterday and a tour of a couple of sites. Questions are due April 10th. Bids are due at the end of the month. And we are anticipating council authorization for a construction award at the end of May. and construction to commence. I was also asked to discuss a little bit about another project the city is working on related to our water supplies. For the state water interconnection project, it's primarily a replacement water source we're using and water quality. And this Ventura Water Pure program is really our new water supply. And it's a combination project program. It's has many project components. The program itself has two objectives. One, to meet environmental permit regulations to remove our wastewater effluent discharge to the Santa Clara River estuary. And secondly, to create a drought-proof water supply for the city. And so it consists of the ocean outfall, our existing upgrades to our existing wastewater facility, the actual advanced water purification facility, and then groundwater injection wells. And we're actually using existing extraction wells. And so just a little bit on that schedule. This one's a little hard to read, but this has been in development since approximately 2008. We did our EIR in 2019. The outfall construction is largely 99% complete, and we are diverting discharge from the estuary now. And then the upgrades to our wastewater plant are underway. And then design on the AWPF and the injection wells is ongoing. And those are expected to be complete by 2030.
Excellent. Thank you, Jennifer.
I have
Questions? Yes.
was waiting for
For a good pause. Now's a good pause.
Yeah, I'm kidding. Jennifer, thank you for coming to our meeting. As for the Pure Water project, when is the scheduled completion day for Pure Water to come online?
The mid to end 2030.
2030? Yes. Okay. The project, the pipeline project, that interconnection between City of Ventura and Calleguas, was your completion date similar to Calleguas' completion date? Or are you both?
I believe so. Yes.
Well, 2029.
2029. So ours is 2 years?
Approximately 2 years.
2 years. Okay. The other question I have for you is, Calleguas is responsible for about 1/3 of the cost, according to the staff report. Calleguas is responsible for 1/3 of the cost, it says.
Yeah, we are responsible for our portion of the pipeline, and right now those costs are approximate. They're based on the engineer's estimate. So we will be opening bids mid-May, and we'll find out what those costs are. But the engineer's estimate for our portion is approximately $4.7 million.
So what portion of the costs are for United and City of Ventura? I guess United is also part of this project? United.
You want me to handle that one?
Yes, please.
United's role is fairly limited. The agreement does not put any capital costs on them, but they're granted right away to Ventura. And their recharge ponds are serving as the point for us to flush when the pipeline's not operating and the water remains stagnant, where we can flush that water so it doesn't go to waste. They have the lowest priority for using the pipeline, and they currently get their state water project water through an overland route through Pyro Creek. So they are not investing directly in the interconnection. And their role is primarily right of way and flushing support.
Okay, thank you. I thought maybe they were interested in the future to get connected to state water project through Calleguas.
That is not covered in the current agreement, and including the agreements that we already executed with Metropolitan with respect to Wheeling. Certainly doesn't preclude their participation later, same with Casitas. But right now, only Ventura is planning to take direct delivery of wheeled state water project water.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming.
Excellent. All right. So as I was mentioning, capital project budget allocation request is being presented before your board. $33,700,000. This will include costs for the construction based on the engineer's estimate of approximately $24.7 million. Bid and construction phase services by the design engineer Perliter and Inglesby, which their scope includes review of bids and bidders' experience during the bid process, preparation of any addenda that may be necessary while we bid the project, review and response to RFIs again during the bid process, and then in construction, the review and response to RFIs and material submittals, and then attend project meetings and provide technical assistance for field orders and work change directives. The budget request includes the budget to cover labor compliance support services, and of course, our staff time for construction management, inspection by Calleguas staff, specialty inspection for welding, materials testing, and factory inspection, and trenchless construction as well. So tonight's recommended action for the Calleguas Ventura interconnection is to approve capital project budget allocation in the amount of $33,700,000. Adopt resolution number 2123, approving the plans and specifications and calling for bids. Approve professional services by Perliter and Inglesby in the amount of $1,500,000 to perform bidding and construction support services. And to authorize the president of the board and the general manager to sign the right-of-way agreement, escrow documents, and certificate of acceptance for the easement deed for Calleguas CMWD parcel number 6310. And with that, I'm happy to take any additional questions.
Great. Thank you, Fernando and others. Director Quady, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure finance and legal has had a shot at this.
As always. Yes, Dan's online today, so I'm looking for him in the back of the room. You should look into your screen. But yes, we don't do any of these things without Walt and Dan's blessings.
For the record.
Hey, other questions or comments from the board?
No.
Okay, moving on to the rest of the remainder of the consent calendar. Do we have any other items or questions on the consent calendar?
No.
Okay, looking for a motion for the consent calendar.
Yeah, I make a motion.
Oh, sorry, what?
We have Tebow with
The
the
public
first.
comments on DeSalter.
I can wait.
Should take public comment.
Oh, we should take
Okay.
public comment on consent calendar. Yes, Walt is
Oh,
reminding
okay.
us. We
Thank you
don't
very
have any
much,
speaker cards, but
Thank you very much for the reminder, Walt. Do we have questions or comments from the public on the consent calendar? Please raise your hand if you are on Zoom or let us know in person. Okay, I see no hands raised. I am looking for a motion. I think Tebow did the first. Do we have a second?
A second. Ready, Pakala.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Roll call, please.
Director Quady,
Yes.
Director McMillan. Yes. Director Paxala.
Yes.
Director Robert.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Director Avila.
Aye, the motion carries. Thank you very much, everyone. Up next, we have action items. First up is discussion regarding resolution number 2125, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Calleguas Municipal Water District recognizing and commending the Association of Water Agencies of Ventura County on the occasion of its 50th anniversary.
Yeah, Ian, our deputy GM is going to handle this one.
Yeah, thanks, Christine. Good evening, board. I think President Avila, you much summed it up in that recommended action, but as discussed in the memo, AWA Ventura County is 50 years old this year. And this is a resolution just to acknowledge that and acknowledge the role that the organization plays in disseminating information, keeping the community educated and aware, and providing opportunities for networking and relationship building. From my perspective, having gone to meetings for 15 of these last 50 years, I think the organization that last services they provide, the opportunity for relationship building and networking has been really critical to our ability as a county in the industry to get along and work as well as we do. There are unfortunately a couple lawsuits in the world today in the groundwater space, but Ventura has generally speaking been remarkably free of that kind of animosity amongst water agencies and municipalities. And I think that AWA plays a part in that. So this is just an attempt to recognize that and extend our appreciation for the work that the organization does and has done over its history.
Okay, thank you, Ian. Absolutely, completely agree with everything you said. Do we have board members who would like to make a comment or have a discussion?
I'll just make a statement. You know, AWA has been a tireless movement in the community and is really just a blessing to have as a force to facilitate, you know, everything from you know, students into facilitating students into the water workforce and professionals and learning education and great water wise and water issues. So you know, it's amazing to see they've been doing it for 50 years and hopefully we'll get another 50.
Okay, thank you, Director Robert. Okay, public, do we have any members of the public who would like to make comment?
Doesn't look like it.
No public in person? Anyone on Zoom? Raise your hand, please.
No raised hands.
Okay, looking for a motion.
I'll move.
We have
Second.
first and a second. Roll call, please.
Director Quady?
Aye.
Director McMillan?
Yes.
Director Scala?
Yes.
Director Robert?
Yes.
Director Avila?
Aye, the motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Up next, we have discussion regarding professional services by HDR Inc. in the amount of $990,978 to prepare a study to optimize brackish groundwater desalting in the Upper Calleguas Creek watershed.
Yes, Ian and I are going to take this one. I'm thrilled to put this before the board. This has been a long road to get here, and there's still a long road ahead of us, but I think this is one of the most critical things that we have ahead of us in terms of improving water supply reliability and resilience. So Ian's going to start us off.
Great. Yeah, so I'm just going to talk for a couple minutes about how we got here. So if we could, next slide. So this is an outcome of the Water Resources Implementation Strategy, which is, as you all know, is a water resource planning project that we went through for over 2 years. And that really stemmed from the 21-22 drought that resulted in us having to be subject to the Emergency Water Conservation Program for Metropolitan, which, as you recall, imposed differential demand management measures on its customers for the first time in the organization's history, and really spurred the Calleguas board to think about what it is that we do and is there a different way to meet the demands of our service area. And the board said, yeah, we should look at whether there is, and determine through that new model for resilience that our future is going to involve greater resilience through partnerships and regional collaboration. And this project, as we'll talk about as we go through this presentation, is an example of all of those things. The RIST included partner workshops, interviews, as you've heard us talk about. It was a robust, collaborative stakeholder process that we set out from board direction, but also from staff's perspective to ensure that it was driven as much by purveyor interest and need and perspective as it was by Calleguas's. And so we've tried to maintain that as we've moved into these projects as well. So the Water Resource Implementation Strategy, one of the outcome, the kind of bottom line of that study was that there are a number of things that we can do to increase our resilience and our water supply reliability locally at a cost that is equal to or less than what we anticipate Metropolitan being between now and 2050, 2060. Among those projects was the northern reach of the Calleguas Creek Watershed Desalter Project. That's what we're talking about today. And it was identified as a no regret action, which, as you'll remember, is an action that a few years from now, we are pretty sure we're not going to regret having taken. The idea for this study was to evaluate and select a preferred desalter in that upper portion of the watershed. And the reason that we called it that is that there have been some, and Christine will talk about this a little bit more, there's been some investigation into brackish groundwater desalting in that area. There is some that is currently occurring at the kind of northeasternmost corner of the Pleasant Valley Basin, where the Calleguas Creek, the Arroyo Las Posas dumps into the Pleasant Valley Basin. And the question really is, what of all of the possibilities and different projects that some have looked into a little bit, which one is the best? So the other reason that we call it the upper reaches of the North Calleguas Creek watershed is because to a great extent, it really is, whether you're looking at high groundwater that is essentially a nuisance water in eastern Simi Valley, all the way down to that mound of brackish water in the northeast corner of the Pleasant Valley Basin. It's essentially the same water source. So when we talk about different projects that have been looked into to some degree, they can't all be. So this is really a process to look between these ways of extracting and treating and putting that water to beneficial use, which is the best option, because they can't all be done. So having been at Camarosa Water District when we brought a brackish groundwater desalter online, and having been next door to the city of Camarillo as they went through that process, I can tell you that deciding to do a brackish groundwater desalter and making it happen is a very complicated effort. And it is not something that we can go into lightly. We can't take it lightly. We can't just decide on a whim to do a project of this magnitude. Christine will talk about this a little bit also, but for a point of comparison, the cost for a 4.5 million gallon a day desalter in Camarillo was about $80 million.
$80 million several years ago.
Yeah, and it took them about 10 years to get there. And as Christine said, that $80 million price tag was from about 6 years ago. So it was a complicated decision, and it's a very costly decision. And to the point on the screen now, because of that, it's essential that we do our due diligence. That's really what we're proposing in this study. And as an extension of the RIST, as I talked about a moment ago, we want this study, and Christine's going to talk about the shape of it and the study partners. We want this to be driven as much as the RIST itself was by the interest, needs, and perspectives of our purveyors. We want this to be a collaborative effort.
Yes, so that's a fantastic transition to talking about the desalter study partners. When we wrapped up phase 1 of the RIST and presented those no regrets actions to the purveyors, we did solicit input on who would like to participate in that study. And it was there was a very strong interest from most of the larger purveyors. Note that Ventura County Waterworks Districts actually covers 3 different purveyors, because that's Waterworks 1, 19, and 38. 2 of the 3 investor-owned utilities expressed interest, and most of the cities who deliver water in our service area. So, and then along the way, the Fox Canyon Groundwater Management Agency expressed interest in participating. This is tied to a specific requirement for a study that they need to do as part of the Las Posas judgment. By incorporating the needs for that into this study, it is cost effective and efficient for everyone, and their participation comes with $100,000. So we certainly welcome that investment and partnership with them. Since we decided to move forward with this, we started by convening the study partners to develop and issue the RFP. We received extensive comments and input from them. Obviously, we issued the RFP, got it distributed to a number of consultants who do this kind of work. We ultimately received 3 proposals from 3 very qualified teams, and the study partners were given the opportunity to review those proposals. It was very tight because they were very strong proposals, but ultimately the group coalesced around recommending award to the team of HDR. We brought that recommendation to the Water Supply Storage and Partnership Development Committee, and they concurred with that recommendation, after which we worked with the HDR team to refine their proposal, partly to make sure we were all on the same page with what exactly needed to be done, as well as incorporate the elements that Fox Canyon GMA wanted in there in order to their participation. So the point of action we are at tonight is staff is recommending award of the contract to the HDR team and authorization of that contract. So what all is in this study? Well, Ian referenced that there's a number of desalter concepts that have historically been considered. That's the 5 here on this screen. They are scattered throughout the northern Calleguas Creek watershed and beyond. We summarize them in this neat little table that gives you a sense of what those concepts are. You can see the capacity ranges from kind of an unknown because some of the concepts have been studied in more detail than others. But it ranges from where we do know 2.2 and change up to 8.5, with the full range in between. The source water varies depending on the desalter concept, and you'll see these 2 bottom ones are actually consider acquiring rights to non-native water. Various agencies have been involved in these previous investigations. Calleguas has been involved in some of them, and they all vary in terms of how much additional salinity management pipeline would need to be constructed. Obviously, all of these facilities would discharge a brine. You need somewhere to put that brine. And depending on where they are, there may be no additional SMP required. There may be a small reach, or there may be fairly extensive, depending on the location. And there are other factors that vary as well: the source water quality, where one could deliver the product, the finished water. I didn't try to capture all of that in this one table. This is why we're doing a study. So what does the study entail? Well, starting with reviewing all that extensive existing information on these potential desalter concepts, we've managed to gather all of those studies from these various agencies, all of whom are participants in the study. And the idea is to take all of that data, synthesize the data, identify the data gaps. The age of the studies varies, and we've certainly learned a lot. Some things have changed substantially. For example, most of the work on the Moorpark desalter was done before the adjudication started, much less completed. And then as a group, this involves the study partners brainstorming additional concepts. There may be hybrid concepts, there may be other concepts, with the goal of getting to about 10 initial concepts for consideration. They would be evaluated at a screening level. So we wouldn't be doing, numeric groundwater modeling, but considering kind of the most significant aspects and narrowing those down to the 3 to 5 most promising ones. From there, that's where the real detailed assessment would be done on the concepts with respect to groundwater quantity and quality. The consultant team would be responsible for developing the groundwater model input criteria and interpreting the model output. The models for each of these groundwater basins are handled in various ways. They don't all have the same kinds of models, and who has access to that model varies. So the modeling is it will be contracted separately. And of course, you'd have to determine potential facility sizing and locations and evaluate all of those considerations and constraints: cost, risk, constructability, feasibility, time to implement. And that would factor in things like, what kind of groundwater framework is there? Is there an adjudication? Is there a GSP? Is there essentially nothing? As well as how much SMP do you need, and how and where can you move the product water? This next bullet is a key component of the Fox Canyon GMA's interest, which is considering the basin optimization plan requirements that they need to comply with under the Las Posas judgment. As Ian mentioned, this is a very collaborative process where we would have a series of workshops for the study partners to provide their input, their knowledge of the basins they operate in, and the work that's been done previously is invaluable to make sure that we make the best decisions we can. And then, of course, documentation, so we know what the final report is, as well as a series of technical memoranda that dive more deeply into those more technical aspects, like the outcome of the groundwater modeling. So in terms of financial considerations, as I mentioned, the Fox Canyon Groundwater Management Agency has offered a $100,000 financial contribution. I did hear from Cal Water that they might be able to go up to $50,000. And I do have some pending contributions from other agencies as well. As I mentioned, the groundwater modeling is not included and will need to be contracted for separately. Who will be doing that modeling depends on which basins we need to model. For example, Intera has the model for the Las Posas Basin. We already have a contract with them. Other basin, well, I should say East Las Posas. West Las Posas is Dudek. Simi Valley has a steady state model. So we didn't try to incorporate it into the scope because there's just too much uncertainty about what needs to be done and who needs to do it. So the recommended action tonight is to approve the professional services by the HDR team in the amount of $990,978 to prepare this study that I've been talking about. As I said, this is Ian said, this is a foundational issue for making wise decisions moving forward about cost-effective and efficient use of resources to maximize the benefit of this effort. And with that, I would just remind President Avila that we do have one public comment in the room. So when you're ready for that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Christine. First off, let's do some board discussion. Who'd like to go first?
I'll just reiterate what the Deputy General Manager said. This is foundational to appropriate direction. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes. I'm very encouraged to see the participation level from our purveyors. 10 of them are participating and some of them are willing to donate, contribute to the study. As far as modeling goes, Christine, so the intent would be once all of the other work is done, when it's time to look at the modeling, you would contract with different people?
It would be within the work. Actually, it's probably easiest to show it here. So once we've narrowed to those 3 to 5 most promising desalter concepts, that's the point at which the modeling would be done.
Okay.
So that the HDR team has the outputs in order to perform the rest of their analyses to identify the most promising of those 3 to 5.
Okay.
And so if the modeling is, if it's Simi Valley, that steady state we have, and that is actually included in this scope. But if it's East Las Posas, then we'd have to contract with Intera. If it's West Las Posas, United QDEC. So depends on where and what. And that's why, as Christine left it out until we get to that point and we know whether we need to.
Okay. As far as the process itself, the consultant would be meeting with the individual proponents of the project?
We saw these more as group workshops, both for efficiency's sake and because I personally believe that when we work together and we bounce ideas off of each other, we often end up with the best possible outcome. So the goal would be to have a series of, I think there's 4 group workshops, collaborative working sessions to provide that input to HDR. It doesn't mean there wouldn't also be individual outreach, but in terms of the collaborative effort would primarily be in those workshops.
Who is the project manager from HDR?
Her name is Jacqueline Mutter, and she is their Southern California lead for drinking water and water reuse.
Do they have other consultants who are assisting them?
Yes, Daniel B. Stevens and Associates, led by Tony Morgan, formerly of United, is performing the hydrogeology. They also have M&S on the team to lead some of the engagement effort, led by Joe Pope, formerly of Waterworks, and Brown and Caldwell, who did the design on NPV desalter for some of the facility sizing efforts.
I'm impressed with the team that you selected.
It's a strong team.
Yeah. And they have lots of experience in this area. And also, I just want to note $100,000 contribution from GMA is good for us. And also, whichever the 3 to 5 projects on the top of the list, it'll be easier for them to go through the water master process once we complete this. It's less time consuming because they're already familiar with this. Projects and how worthwhile they are.
Yes.
Well, very good job and thank you for bringing this to our board.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have a raised hand by Director Robert.
Yeah, I'm probably just going to echo what some of the other directors said, but Calleguas prides themselves to be leaders in community development in the water field, and we've been talking about looking into this for a while now, so I'm thrilled to see it kick off, and I think it's going to be whichever way it goes, it'll be beneficial for the community, and if it works out to turn into a full scale desalter, it'll be incredible for our resiliency and reliability. So, great project.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Any more board discussion? Okay, I do have one question. Once this is approved, what is the timeline? How long are we anticipated for the study to take?
It's estimated to be about an 18-month process all in. It's a lot of work.
18 months?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And with that, do we have any public comments?
Yes, I do have a comment card from Wanda Moyer from the city of Simi Valley, who's here in the room with us.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. As was said, I'm here representing the city of Simi Valley and Waterworks District Number 8. Wanted to express our support and gratitude to Calleguas, especially the staff for leading the water resource implementation strategic team and this no regrets desalter optimization study. As you may know, the city of Simi Valley City Council met in a retreat and developed 9 high priority goals to work on this year. And on March 23rd, our city manager, Samantha Argabright, provided an update. And one of those goals is to support the development of local independent water resources, including the exploration of groundwater desalination. I was asked to come up and provide an update with more specific information, as I have been the longtime representative for the city and have participated in all of the meetings that Calleguas has hosted. So thank you for that. I wanted to reiterate the main points that we previously provided for the desalter study optimization. The city feels that a firm commitment should be made to analyze solutions that may allow all agencies participating to physically receive water during emergency conditions, especially the Calleguas retailers in the upper zone. I think you know who they all are, but just for the record, that would be City of Thousand Oaks, Cal American, American Water, Golden State Water Company, and City of Simi Valley. We also support improvement of each agency's reliability and resiliency benefits, and that they should be considered and accounted for, and thirdly, evaluate as part of this effort the value of each agency's contribution to the resource they are providing, and allot a fair trade value as part of this desalter study and the regional exchange program. So once again, I want to thank the Calleguas staff, especially Christine and Ian, who have personally allocated, I think we're into years now of effort, and it sounds like we have years more to go. So as a state water project dependent community and me personally leading that effort, I couldn't express my gratitude enough to see exploration of local supplies for diversity. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Wanda. We appreciate your comment. And
there's no other public in the room, so.
Okay, no other public in the room. Do we have members of the public online on Zoom? Please raise your hand if you'd like to speak. Okay, I have no raised hands. And we are looking for a motion.
I make a motion.
Second.
Approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call, please.
Director Quady?
Aye.
Director McMillan?
Yes.
Director Pacala?
Yes.
Director Robert?
Yes.
Director Avila?
Aye, the motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I'm really appreciate the board's support on this. I'm very excited about this study, and I think it's got a lot of promise, and it's going to be a really interesting and productive effort.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, up next, we have discussion regarding resolution number 2124, a resolution of the Board of Directors of Calleguas Municipal Water District nominating Jacqueline McMillan for seat C, representing the Coastal Network on the CSDA Board of Directors, and consideration of potential adjustments to board committees and collateral assignments. All right, so let's kick it off. Do we want to have discussion on the nomination first off for Director McMillan for CSDA? Okay, Director McMillan.
I was very much more involved with CSDA when I was with the Castaic Lake Water Agency. And unfortunately, because I moved out of the area, I had to come off the board and I lost those positions. But then when I came here, I wanted to get back involved with CSDA and get on the ledge committee, but Charlotte showed up and I said, that's the person who needs to be there, not me. And that was the right decision to make. She's done well. And this is just an opportunity for me to get back involved. And I looked at the requirements of what it has. Some of the board meetings are at conferences we go to. The only thing that would be added on would be 3 additional board trips, one which is in Zoom and the other 2, which is on a Friday in Sacramento. So that's the only additional obligations that I would have to take on.
Okay.
And with that, I'd like to make the motion to support Jacqueline McMillan.
Okay. Sounds good. So we have a 2-part for this agenda. And with that, we want to review all the board seats and committee assignments to get some fairness and balancing going on. I know we've had some people miss some committees. We've had to switch some committees. So I'd like the board to review all the assignments and all the committees and make recommendations, make some changes, and hopefully get better participation and attendance.
Well, I just want to note that the information in the packet isn't complete in terms of the different assignments. And so I kind of plead ignorance in terms of, I don't know where everybody stands on their committees because there's aqua positions that are missing. Of course, Jackie, Director McMillan, she has MWD positions that are subcommittees. There would be a importance to list all of that. And like I said, the aqua positions are missing.
And I sit on the CSDA board and the CSDA board, excuse me.
Yeah.
The Delta Conveyance Board and Finance Authority. So.
Yeah, the list in the packet is just intended to address the assignments that this board decides upon, not assignments you might take on beyond that. That isn't to say it isn't something we could compile, but it is not something we currently have compiled.
Yeah, which
that is a good thought, and I do like that idea. Maybe a separate list of other seats. Like for example, LAFCO. I was nominated by a different agency. I'm not. That doesn't count as a meeting for me when I attend those meetings. But that one is on here. But the rest of them, like Aqua and things like that, probably should be on here as well.
I would just propose we create a separate document for that. I think. So we're talking about the Aqua Committee assignments.
And WD subcommittee positions.
Which would be Director McMillan only, but we certainly can list those. Are there others that we need to capture here? Or in the document to be that Kara is going to create?
I guess the only other thing is that some of these participations, they actually pay for, and it's not Calleguas's bill on some of these. So
which one?
Well, like CSDA, I understand will cover 2 of Director McMillan's if she gets elected to this.
They would cover the cost of her to attend the board meetings, the expenses.
Yeah.
We would still be paying the cost of her time, the meeting.
The per diem.
The per diem, thank you. Could not come up with that phrase.
Okay, then that's interesting. And
Met is similar. For Met, we pay the per diem, but Met pays the expenses.
interesting.
Mhm.
And Aqua JPIA, they reimburse me for most things other than with workers' comp. I think there's just a few things I think I have to itemize on Aqua JPIA. But anyway, so there's that kind of complexity in terms of
Yeah.
where people are getting reimbursed, and there is a participation level, which of course I love this board, seeing this board participate in so many different levels.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right, LAFCO, our board, our district doesn't pay anything for me to be on LAFCO. That's all paid for by LAFCO. So good point. I'm just going to kick it off from the top. In that case, currently the Engineering and Construction Committee, we have Director Robert and Director Bacala and Director Quady as an alternate. Do we still like that committee the way it is? Any recommended changes?
I'm fine unless someone else feels strongly about switching it around. I'm happy to entertain it.
Okay. Finance, we have Director McMillan. She's our treasurer, so she has to be the chair of that one. And the member is Director Quady, alternate is Director Bacala. Any recommended changes or requests? Okay. Operations and organization is Director Quady and myself. Director Bacala is the alternate. Are you good with that one? Public engagement and communications, Director McMillan, myself, and Director Quady is the alternate. Any recommendations? Okay, water supply storage partnership development is Director Bacala, Director Quady, and myself as the alternate. The sponsorship committee, we have Director Robert as the chair, Director McMillan as the member, and myself as the alternate. The employee ad hoc committee, we have Director Robert, myself, and Director Bacala as the alternate. Okay. And moving on. Oh, you got one.
I have comments about the Calleguas committees. Right now, there are 7, including the ad hoc.
Okay.
It may be beneficial for us to combine them and maybe have a maximum of 4 committees instead of so many. Some of my thoughts are, let's say if you want to have a executive committee, for example, we could fold sponsorship and maybe organization into it, public engagement, communication into it in one committee. And my thought is have 4 committees and absorb some of these responsibilities, appropriate committees. Maybe there'll be less, staff organization and all of that, more efficient maybe.
That is an interesting recommendation. I don't believe we could do that right now at this moment, but that's something we could probably look at in the future based off of the action item.
Yeah, today's action item, it's called, but today's action item I don't think is defined broadly enough to include that. It is something that the board could ask us to come back with. It would be helpful. Sounds like you may already have a vision, so it might be helpful to know what exactly that vision is, and maybe we can talk about that later.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I thought we were reorganizing, whatever. I didn't, okay, that works for me.
Yeah, the way it's written is changing assignments, not changing the actual committees.
Oh. Okay.
All right. And if we'd have any recommended changes there, moving on to Aqua JPIA. Currently, we have Director Quady as a primary, myself as the alternate. Director Quady's done a great job there, and I enjoy being his alternate. So unless anybody else wants to jump in on there.
I would actually appreciate, since I'm running for the CWIF, that I not be ejected from that election if I was not the voting member.
Okay. All right. So moving on to the next one, we have AWA with Director Robert as the primary and myself as the alternate. I'll just kick it off with that one. I wouldn't mind just removing myself as the alternate from AWA if anybody else is willing to jump in on there.
I don't mind being an alternate.
Okay. Director Pacala, for the alternate, is everyone okay with that?
Sounds good.
I would support it.
Okay. Up next, we have Calleguas LV Public Finance Authority. This one isn't up to us. This is one of those that's voted on by the PFA. And actually, I'm not. I have it on my list as myself as the president on that one. We did change. We did have votes, and we swapped. So currently, somebody from Las Virgenes is the president of that one.
And when we update this record after today's meeting, we will update that information as well.
Okay, up next we have the Met Water District, Director McMillan. Director McMillan's been on there for almost 4 years. Any changes? Okay. All right, if nobody's interested in that one, then we're going to be moving on to VCRA.
Did you ask for anybody's interested?
I did.
Oh, I didn't know what you were asking for. I was thinking of having interest in that at the beginning of next year. I didn't know that we're going to be reviewing this time. But appropriate time, I would be interested.
Okay, so that's a interesting discussion point. With actually, it wouldn't be a terrible idea with, in terms of succession planning. I know we have somebody retiring soon, and it might make sense with Henry leaving soon that we do look at that if that's something the board's interested in.
I just want to make clear that it's not that I don't have an interest in what the MWD rep does. I'm certainly interested.
You'd be interested.
Scott.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Is that something you guys want to continue discussing or moving on? Would we like to vote on that?
We can move on.
Okay, Director Pacala?
It's up to the board, whatever board decides.
Okay. All right. Well, it's either you're interested in, or we're not, and we're moving on. So
sounds good. Move on.
Okay. All right. We got VCREA. Currently, we have Director Pacala as the board member, and the alternate board member is Director Quady. Are we good with that one?
If you want to be chair, that's fine.
No, I've been that.
Okay.
It's your turn.
Okay.
Okay, we got VCSDA. We have Director Robert as primary and Director Pacala as the alternate.
I'm fine with it. It's a wonderful organization, but I would just offer logistically, with Director McMillan, Director McMillan's new, well, I guess we haven't voted on this yet, but prospective new position with CSDA. Would it make sense for her to also be involved in VCSDA?
I'd be all right with that.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of commonality and conversation with the same people and the reinforcement of the same initiatives from the group.
Yeah, I concur, Director Robert, that it seems to me that it really is a bottom-up thing anyway. Is that
Right.
local participation deems stepping up to other positions if optional, as an option.
I support that.
I think right now it's Director Pakal and I would, I think all three of us are great. So I'm happy with however you guys wanna split that up.
I'll vacate.
I was just gonna say I'm happy to step aside, but Pakala, I'm Director Pakala. You let me know. I'm fine with either way.
No, I'm going to vacate that position.
Okay. Are there any other positions that you were interested in maybe that now that you're not gonna have that one?
No, I'm fine. The way they are.
Okay. All right. Okay, then we have who's going to be the primary on that one, Director McMillan or Director Robert?
I think probably Director McMillan would make sense.
I'll take it.
I'm good.
All right. Okay, up next we have Fox Canyon and LAFCO, and those aren't selected by our board. So moving on to, I'm sorry, did staff write down all the different changes, recommendations?
Aria's nodding if you can't see her on screen. I guess she is a little out of frame. I mean, it sounded like it was just a change to the VCSDA rep and
AWA.
AWA. Yes.
Okay.
Adding an alternate to AWA, correct?
All right. I am concerned. I do have a concern with all the extra stuff that Director McMillan is taking on, though. So I do want to make that clear. Metropolitan is probably our most important seat, and with her being on CSDA, VCSDA, it's a lot. It's a lot, and honestly, our most important
I am
seat, I feel like
retired.
we should be focusing on that.
I'm
So,
retired. It's doable.
okay. All right. So with that, I leave it to the board.
We have
Actually, public comment. Sorry, do we have public comment?
There's no longer any public in the room, so definitely none here in person.
Okay,
Mr.
do we have,
President, we haven't talked about Fox Canyon, if anybody's interested in Fox Canyon.
I would
those are-
strongly
those are
reaffirm Director Pakala's expertise at Fox Canyon.
And those are selected by the group that selects that seat. We only make nominations. Do we have anybody from the public who would like to make comment? Public comment?
No raised hands.
Okay. All right, with that, looking for a motion.
I'll move.
Second,
I want to make it clear that the motion is to reflect the changes that were made in the additional position,
As well as
as well
As well as a resolution for nomination.
to continue the resolution for Director McMillan. Okay, it's been first and second.
As stated, yes, thank you.
Okay, roll call, please.
Director Quading,
Aye.
Director McMillan,
Yes.
Director Pakala,
yes,
Director Robert,
Yes.
Director Avila.
No. I'm a no. So, okay, but the motion carries for the entire resolution. So thank you, everyone. Okay, up next we have reports.
Yes, on the MSR, staff will be providing some highlights, which are coming up on the screen now. I believe first, I just want to take a moment to admire this pretty awesome cover photo. Looks like you had an amazing day. You all look very, very happy accepting that large check. That large check does currently reside in our foyer. And really, you couldn't have had a more beautiful or perfect backdrop for commemorating such an important milestone. So with that, Moving on to our first highlight, which Kat Arrett, our recently awarded Emerging Leader of the Year and Senior Communication Specialist, will be handling.
Awesome. Good evening, members of the board. I am pleased to be covering this MSR highlight tonight. Director Bacala initiated the idea for a tour and briefing for members of the Citizen Advisory Committee for Ventura County Waterworks District 1 and 19. They joined us along with several special guests, including the city and county officials. The Citizens Advisory Committee members are appointed by their respective county supervisors and review staff recommendations on items such like annual budget, water and sanitation rate adjustments, capital improvement projects, annexation requests, and other policy matters before providing recommendations to the board. Because they serve as an important connection between their communities and the waterworks districts, Citizen Advisory Committee appointees help bring local perspective into discussions about water reliability, infrastructure, and long-term planning. Tours of facility like here at Calleguas are valuable because they provide these community leaders with firsthand look at our facilities, operations, and helping strengthen understanding, collaboration, and informed decision-making. The visit to our headquarters created an opportunity for discussion about regional water supply, Calleguas' operations, while showcasing the infrastructure that supports reliable water delivery in our region. We concluded our visit and tour with a conversation about the Regional Defaulter Working Group and the collaborative efforts that are underway to strengthen long-term water reliability. Overall, it was a very important opportunity to bring our county, city, and community partners together and give them a closer look at the work we do here at Calleguas to support reliable water for our region. I do want to point out it was quite the fun tours that we actually had from the Waterworks District 1. Steve Morgan is actually Trisha and Kristen's dad, so it's nice having.
So the bottom right photo there, I mean, bottom left, I'm sorry, is Steve Morgan, who's on the Ventura County Waterworks 1 CAC with Trisha, his two daughters who work here at Calleguas, Trisha Ferguson, our manager of human resources and risk management, and Kristen Morgan, who is a senior account tech. So I just want to highlight that special connection.
We had some very special guests, and Director Bacala's wife also joined us too. So it's very nice to get everybody together for that conversation. But if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to.
I just want to comment. Some of the people came for the first time. They really appreciated, enjoyed the tour. It was very educational for them. I have gotten positive feedback from advisory committee members and others who attended it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, we have, sorry, go ahead.
Item 18 is will be handled by Megan Schneider, our Senior Water Resources Specialist.
Okay.
Good evening, board. Tonight I am highlighting that Calleguas recently connected with 62, that is not a typo, 62 eighth graders from Redwood Middle School in Thousand Oaks. These students are part of a class that has an emphasis on career exploration. It was a two-part experience. So first, Calleguas staff visited their classroom to provide an overview and presentation of who Calleguas is, as well as our operations. And then later in the week, the students visited Calleguas headquarters, where we implemented a new tour format. Students rotated through different areas of the facility, including near Lake Bard, near the pipe up at the park site, the O&M shop, and the generator building. And they got to hear directly from various staff members about their roles. This approach offered students an engaging firsthand look at water careers, as well as the work we do here at Calleguas. The students were very engaged throughout the tour. I think the approach of visiting the classroom first and then having them visit Calleguas gave them the opportunity to come prepared with questions. They asked questions, a vast number of questions, including benefits for working in the water industry, as well as water quality. You know, is my tap safe to drink from? So a very engaged group. And Also, something fun we did at each stop is we gave away a water bottle. So everybody loves our Calleguas water bottles. So we had the staff at that station ask a question, and the first student to raise their hand and answer the question correctly got to receive the water bottle. And they were very eager to try to win those water bottles. So that was fun. And then somewhat of a side note, but something I do want to touch on, and that was also in the MSR, is that this student tour took place on the same day as the Brownlee Check event. And I think that was like a great visual representation of the vast reach that Calleguas is having, just from students to elected officials, and all the hard work we're doing and who we're connecting with. So it's really great to see. And myself, I stopped and reflected, just from the students, the staff, the elected officials, all the great work we're doing here at Calleguas and who we're connecting to. So that is my highlight. I could take any questions.
Okay, pretty incredible. Thank you very much. Questions or comments from the board?
No,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, up next.
Yes, so next we have 32 and 64 with the dynamic duo of Associate Project Manager Gabriela Arujo, and our Assistant Manager O&M, Matt Gomez.
Okay, so good evening, board. This project is the strengthening of the Calleguas Conduit South branch for Metrolink's core improvements. It was prompted when Metrolink contacted us and informed us that they were building a second train track on top of our 51-inch pipeline in Simi Valley. And as a result, we'd have to conform our pipeline to their current utility crossing standard. And that would involve steel casing and trenchless construction and would be very expensive and very complicated. And Calleguas proposed an alternative design using carbon fiber reinforced polymer lining. And design and permitting with both Metrolink and Union Pacific took at least 3 years, depending on when you start to count it. And construction finally started March 2nd and was finalized on March 12th. So it took 11 days, including mobilization and demobilization. So the benefits of installing the CFRP liner as opposed to conventional construction methods are various, and a lot of them stem from what I just stated. It was much, much faster. It was also less expensive by being faster and also less invasive, less disruptive. Minimized risks compared to using trenchless construction methods. Again, less risk of workers getting hurt because they were there for 11 days. And also less risk of settlement of the pipeline, which would have been a big concern if we were to follow the standard crossing and build another pipeline. No need to acquire additional right-of-way. One of the biggest lead items for this project was permitting, and that was to do construction within our easement, within our pipeline. So I can only imagine how much worse it would be if we had to work with UP and Metrolink to acquire a new easement and construct a pipeline beneath the train tracks. In general, it was less invasive and had virtually no disruption to railroad operations, even though they insisted on having a flagger there. And it had minimal disruption to Calleguas operations. And Matt will talk more about those.
Yeah. In coordination and collaboration with Calleguas Engineering, operations and maintenance duties were to isolate the section of the 51, dewater, and remove access manholes and provide a pre-pipeline inspection. So that took 3.5 days. And then during that time, operations and maintenance took advantage of the pipeline being down, and we replaced a broken 4-inch butterfly valve. So the only way we can replace that is for the pipeline to be down. So we took advantage of this project and replaced it. More maintenance to be done. So on the back end, it took 2 days to recharge, flush, and take a back T sample. And although it's only 3.5 days and 2 days on the front and back end, this was some weekend work and 15 to 16-hour days in order to get this pipeline prep for engineering and their contractor to establish this 11-day project.
Any questions?
So we knew ahead of time that this was going to be acceptable by Metrolink or?
We had to put in a request for special design consideration. That was a big part of the lead time. So we contracted Phoenix Engineering and their subcontractor SGH to design the CFRP so that it is equivalent to or it provides the equivalent strength to the proposed, to their standard crossing design. So we had to get that approved, and that was a long process in itself.
No other compaction or other issues were involved?
Because we didn't dig anything up. We literally climbed in through a manhole, put some structural wallpaper in and got out.
I was more worried about their requirements, not ours.
Oh, I mean, that was part of the problem is they had a hard time understanding that we weren't digging anything. And we spent an extensive period of time with them asking for shoring plans and us explaining that since we weren't digging, there wouldn't be any shoring plans. And then them asking for shoring plans again.
One of the comment says one Calleguas customer was minimally impacted.
Oh, yes, I forgot to mention that.
What was that?
So we had a Golden State Water Company in Simi Valley. They have one turnout, which is Tapo Street turnout, which feeds the reservoir. So we were in contact with them, and they have an alternate route to feed their system. So they did isolate their turnout and not take any water to the reservoir because they had other means of providing water. Thankfully, it was just them, and they were very cooperative and very understanding of the project.
No one was out of service. They just have to revalve their system.
It's just a revalve of the system.
I think they have 4 or 5 turnouts.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, our next highlight is number 76, and Trisha Ferguson, our Manager of Human Resources and Risk Management, will be handling this one.
Yeah, so 0 warning, 0 worries. I can't say that's 100% true for me. It's my first OSHA inspection. It was at our Grimes Canyon disinfection facility. It was Monday, March 16th. I remember it like it was 2 weeks ago. Omar got a phone call from the OSHA inspector and it was his day off. So he called me, he helped me coordinate a phone tree and notify our staff and get the right people in place on site quickly. So thankfully, we had our experienced operations supervisor, Julio Reyes, our most qualified expert on the system, and our environmental health and safety specialist, Tori Wren, available to facilitate the inspection. And they both have experience doing this from the past. So myself and Matt, we were both on there as well to listen and learn. We learn about OSHA inspections from training, but to be on site with Julio and actually be a part of an inspection was very valuable for both of us. These unannounced inspections are considered routine for a facility containing highly hazardous materials like ours. So you can expect a surprise visit from OSHA about every 5 years. Our last inspection was in 2019, so it's been a little longer than that for us. And the good news is that during the on-site inspection phase, no violations were identified. And this really reflects our strong safety, maintenance, and operations practices that our staff is implementing every day. So right now, we've moved into the document request phase. And this means that OSHA has asked us to provide records such as training documents, inspection logs, and just other compliance-related materials. This is standard part of the process, and it's to confirm that what the inspector saw in the field is supported by our documentation. So we received a 2-page request for documents, front and back, 31 items. But when you actually read the items, they're like requesting multiple things. So it's quickly turned into like 81 to 101 different items that we're collecting. So it's going to take some time. We have about 4 weeks to gather that for them. So following the documentation phase, the inspector does plan on coming back out and conducting a second visit where he can interview some staff. Because it's a unmanned facility, we didn't have the people there for him to do that. He's going to come back and do that, and then we'll wrap up with the closing conference. So they can have their inspection open for 6 months. So it will be an ongoing process, and we'll come back and provide an update. But right now, I think we're in a really good position for what we've done so far.
Yeah.
Thank you to all who prepped all that work before they have ever got a surprise visit. Appreciate it.
Last but not least, item 77. Ian's gonna take this one.
Yeah, good evening again. So we staff is starting a year-long team building and leadership training program, and LDN, the Leadership Development Network, who you all know through Clint Kamick, who did the board disc workshop last year. We sold that company to a guy called Drew Olson, but they're going to do it. It's very similar. We're going to intersperse those workshops with internal workshops. And we had our first, what we're calling Workshop 0, last month and earlier this month. And what we did was we looked at our core values. So Calleguas's core values, which you'll see, slapped on our website and our coffee cups and the water bottles and all the swag we give out, was developed by a values committee about 3 years ago. It was led by Grant Burton when he was still here. And there were about 6 of us in that values committee, and we put it together and kind of disseminated it, but a lot of people didn't necessarily know what they were supposed to mean, right? I mean, everyone's got a mission, everyone's got values, but what do they mean in practice? So that was the idea behind this workshop. It was really, what do these 3 words mean to us in practice? And it was an opportunity, those pieces of paper that you see up there were handouts. It was a really interactive 4 hours where, as it says in the MSR, we co-define these 3 terms as what they meant for us. And it was really an opportunity to get people to tell stories about their experience at Calleguas, about what integrity looks like from day to day, what leadership looks like day to day, what ingenuity means. They talked about MacGyvering solutions, right? They talked about adaptation of the SMP and using that in ways that we had never thought about it when it was built. They talked about increasing turnout maintenance times, emerging technologies, cross-training, staff developments, the importance that individuals place in meeting deadlines, the pride that they take in meeting regulatory requirements. So having everyone hearing people talk about what matters to them was an opportunity for us to turn that into what these words mean to us as an organization. And it was really meaningful. It was really wonderful. Tricia and I led the workshop, and everyone's involvement made it really easy on us. I mean, they were engaged the entire time. And I really feel, and I've heard from a lot of other staff out the back end, that they feel like we have an idea of what these things mean to us now. So it was a really great way to kick off this year-long training program. And just so the board knows, I know you hear it from us all the time, but I want to reiterate what an amazing group of individuals we have. Hearing from the horse's mouth, so to speak, the kinds of things that you hope you're going to be able to hear as a manager, coming out unsolicited from people was just really wonderful. So that's what I got.
Thanks, Ian.
All right, thank you, Ian. Do you have questions or comments on this item?
How many people are in that picture?
Pretty much all of them. I mean, not quite. As you can see, Kat is our official selfie taker. So we probably, obviously.
The picture's framed great, but there's a ton of people in that picture. Geez.
It's probably 65, 70.
Wow.
It's everybody who was here that day. Obviously, it's hard to get the control room operators because of the 24/7 schedule, and there's always somebody on vacation or sick. But yeah, that is almost the entire workforce in one photo in this room.
Wow.
And a great testament to Kat's selfie taking.
Yeah.
It's just nice being in the background the way that she says she likes to stay in the back.
We have questions on the other items on the management report. I have some if nobody else does. Okay. I'm curious about number 35, the SMP LV Triumphal project for the SMP. I'm wondering, have we began to work with LAFCO yet and contacted them on this project?
The next, actually 2 items down, we're going to give a real brief update on where things are on that discussion.
Okay, got it. Okay, we'll skip that one. Okay, I have a question on Smith Road Tank. What's the timeline on that one? Where are we at?
Give Fernando a moment to get to the podium. I know you can't see these things now because you're not in the room. There we go.
President Avila. So we are in design for the tank project as well as in CEQA.
CEQA is a little bit ahead of design. We were hoping to wrap up CEQA around fall of this year, and the design to follow after that.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. And I have one more, number 84. I know Dan and staff went to the Annual California Society of Municipal Finance Officers Conference. And I'm wondering, what new and exciting ideas did you learn about? Do we have any recommendations from that exciting conference?
Anna's online today and hopefully there he goes. He unmutes himself.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I mean, it's really just to kind of see what's coming up. There's a lot of accounting changes always in the works from the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. So it kind of gives us a preview of what's coming and what to be prepared for. There's some financial statement changes that are on our way that's going to change what we have to report. So that's the biggest change I think that's coming down. It also gives us a lot of opportunity to network with other finance professionals. I took 2 of my staff with me and was able to let them kind of meet other people that are doing some of the same jobs. We learn about the best practices that are out there. We are able to talk to find out what other agencies do, cities, other water districts. There's a lot of people at these conferences, and it's a great place for us to network.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dan. All right, and up next is Dan with the February 2026 financial statements.
Right. Hopefully you're seeing the right one. So this is the February financial statements. As you know, the water sales are a little behind what we budgeted. It's about, what, 2,700 acre feet. So we are a little bit short on the water sales, but overall we're looking pretty good. So water revenues in general, when you're looking at the revenues net, the water costs, we're under budget by only $1 million, which is not too far off of where we needed to be. We make that up in some of these other slides. You can see that our admin expenses are about $3 million under budget, which is good for us right now. And taxes and interest, the revenues are actually above what we expected. So between those two things, we're $5 million over. And that kind of is reflected in our operating income, which is about $5 million over where we expected it to be right now. So overall, we're looking really healthy for the year. And principal and interest continues to be right where we expected it to be, even with our variable rates, bonds, and our loan that's out there. To kind of look at the pumping power costs, the pumping power expense, you can see we are over budget. A lot of that still has to do with Edison going back and reassessing their daylight savings time error. And it's gone back quite a ways. And we're still looking at it as well to make sure that they're at least refunding us the same amounts that they charged us to make sure there's no discrepancies there. And with the pumping power revenue, you can see that we are a little bit ahead of what we had budgeted for this time. So we are collecting kind of what we thought. We're paying Edison more than we thought. And hopefully that's a one-time thing for us on the expense side. Looking at the utility power, which is really the Lake Bard facility here, we are over budget. We keep saying it. It was mostly because we had an extra plant run this year that we didn't budget for. And so that's what's caused that overage.
But
so
Dan,
looking at the overall revenues and expenses, you can see that we've got revenue of $886,000. We did budget 1.2, so we're on pace to make that for this year. Pumping power expense, we're almost at budget already. I expect us to hit that in the month of March. So we're going to have to really look at that going forward as we start utilizing. But again, there's some one-time costs in there that is throwing our expenses higher this year. And then utility powers, we are definitely over budget already for the year because of that extra plant run that used a lot of power. Looking at the actuals for the month of February, you can see that it was actually a pretty good month for us. The operating revenues were off by just a little bit. If you remember February, we sold almost our budgeted amount, which is why it's right kind of where it should have been. The cost of water is under because we were in a plant shutdown during some of that time, and we used the well field water to offset it, which is a lower cost to the district when we use that water. There was a little bit of savings from the admin expenses. So overall, the operating income was a gain of $635,000. We had a good day with the interest and expenses. We had interest was higher and the market value went up to create that $870,000 increase. So that was good for us. So overall, we anticipated a $819,000 deficit for the month of February, but in reality, it was a 640,000 increase, resulting in a $1.4 million difference from what we expected to have happen. So that was really nice to see for the month of February. And overall, for our cash and market value, we've increased by almost $3 million from January to February. So again, that's partly because we're paying some small bills and receiving higher revenues at this time. But we've also had some savings on the admin side. So overall, we're looking good in the cash perspective as well. To look at our current ratios, even though we had those higher, the cash and the good month, the current ratio did fall a little bit. It has to do with the amount that the liabilities went up because there's some bills that are going to be coming due. They're going to be higher. This gave us extra cash, but it increased our liabilities to do that, which lowers the current ratio and the quick ratio. And you can see the debt ratio stays about the same. It was went up a little bit, but it's still very healthy. And then the debt service coverage, we're at 2.79. Remind you, we budgeted at 2.44, so we're definitely ahead of where we expected. Typical for this time of year. It did decrease a little bit as we are not getting the revenues from the property tax. Once that property tax kind of goes on hiatus for a few months, this will come back down. We're expected to be closer to the 2.44. And the times interest are also decreased for the same kind of reason. So overall, we're doing really good healthy-wise. It was a good month of February for us. And that's all I have, unless there's some additional questions.
And one of my question, this is Reddy Pakala.
It's ready.
On the pumping costs, you have treatment plant. The other pumping costs are for ASR well field and the pump stations?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. It's just the facilities, or it also includes all of the other pump, buildings, office, electric power, everything else?
The utility power line item that I showed you on that graph really consists of this facility here at the district headquarters. All the other pumping costs that are considered part of the cost of the water has to do with the well field, when we pump the water out of the well field or into the well field, as well as all the pump stations we have around the district to move the water in between the upper and lower zones.
Thank you.
Oh, you can just speak up on that. Apparently, Director Avila, you are muted.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Okay. Thank you, Dan. Does anybody else have questions or comments? Okay, thank you, Dan. Okay, up next, we have update on follow-up action regarding salinity management pipeline policy.
Yes, this is just a real brief presentation to the board to just tell you kind of where we are, follow up on the conversations that we've had over the last couple of months regarding SMP policy and how that connects with both the Las Virgenes, Triunfo, JPAs, Pure Water, planned brine discharge, as well as Amgen and potentially other biotech dischargers. So what we heard over these series of conversations was that the board wanted a better understanding of the costs and benefits of the SMP, including the connection of additional biotech customers like Amgen, and that should be obtained by connecting with appropriate outside expertise. We have been working with a firm called One Water Econ. They're a resource economics firm. They actually, all they do is economic analysis associated with water projects. It's a real niche, but it's a very useful niche to us in this particular situation. We actually worked with the owner of the firm years and years ago when she was with a different firm, when we had to do some economic analysis associated with some of the integrated water resource plan grants. So I was able to find out where she is now, and she's started this firm. So we've been working with them on developing a scope of work. I think we're pretty close to finalizing that. And that will allow us to have some analysis that is where possible monetized, where not possible to monetize quantified, and where not possible to quantify qualitative, that really looks at all of the costs and benefits associated with this potential connection. So more to come on that, but I really think we're headed in the right direction in that regard. The other piece of the puzzle is LAFCO, which Ian's going to give a brief update on.
Yeah, I had a long conversation with Kai Luoma a week and a half ago, who's the executive director at LAFCO, just to understand his perspective on moving brine from LA County, the LV service area, through the Triumph service area, into ours, picking up Amgen, moving it down the hill to where our connection with the SMP is going to be. And getting his perspective, and then, as Christine mentioned, working on our side with our legal counsel and coordinating with the JPA representatives. We are working through all of those things.
Okay.
And that's it. As I said, brief, but felt it was important to provide a quick touch point on that, those efforts.
Okay, thank you very much. Is that it for this item? We have questions or comments.
Unless there's board questions.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I believe I missed one of the discussions you had about the SMP project. So some of my thoughts about this proposed segment of Amgen and JPA. My understanding is the cost is about $20 million. What we could consider is collecting a portion of the proposed segment cost distributed over the life of the project on the monthly SMP bills. In other words, if we have a gravity line, it has X amount of capacity. If they are discharging 0.5x or 100x or whatever, you proportionally charge them for their discharge. And also we could consider additional fee may be assessed to Amgen. They are a pharmaceutical company. We don't know what type of discharges they have. They may comply with our permit discharge requirements. However, they may be unique. So in a sewer system, there's what's called a source control program. In a source control program, you can assess charges to certain type of constituents within the discharge.
Yes, but to clarify, the only discharges we would accept from Amgen are discharges of brine from the treatment of potable water. It wouldn't be any process discharges. They are actually planning to, this sounds weird, but bear with me. They would treat potable water, create a brine, RO that brine. So we'd have the brine from the brine. That's what they're proposing to do. So there would be no process waters that would have anything. It would just be brine from the potable treatment of water RO'd again. We had to have them draw a diagram. It's actually 3 different sources, but that's the bottom line of it.
If it's only brine though, wouldn't it be viscosity though? So thick, would it flow?
No, it's still flow. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what the TDS is on it, but it's not like it's solid salt yet or anything.
It's still probably.
But it's definitely less salty than the ocean, but it is concentrate. They're concentrating it because they're trying to save water. That's the driver for that. As for the first part of that, those are the kinds of things that the One Water Econ analysis is looking at.
Okay. That also kind of brings up what my past noise was about, which, the staff was quickly shot down, but it was my concern about the 40 CFR 403s. So I already asked about that some time ago. Anyway, that's the answer.
We didn't shoot.
We're not shooting on your concern. We share your concern.
We're addressing your concern with factual information about what the actual allowable discharges are.
Okay. Do we have other questions? More board discussion? Okay, thank you everyone for that update. Up next, do we have a general counsel's report?
You all got a copy of the quarterly legal summary. As always, I will continue to endeavor to get the quarter 1 summary out quickly. That was for quarter 4. So I will get the next one out to you in more rapid fashion. So that.
Only comment I have, it's a very good report. Maybe next time, can you add another column, say what percentage of the money you spent, the budget amount for each of those?
That's a Dan's on. That's a Dan thing.
Oh, the Dan thing.
Yeah, let's talk about that separately. I don't want to get too much into legal stuff in an open session.
Okay. Thank you. Up next, we have committee meeting reports.
And there was a sponsorship committee meeting, and the chair of said committee, Director Robert, is indeed online.
Or away from the.
Or may still is on mute and may be talking with mute on, or may have stepped away for a moment.
Director Robert.
Yep. Sorry, my buttons weren't working.
You want to give a summary on the sponsorship committee, or would you like staff to do it?
Yeah, so the sponsorship committee, we evaluated potential sponsors. We discussed the sponsors that we have and changing sponsors for AWA that were made as a recommendation from Kelly. I decided that we should bring that up to the board because there were some additional nuances and I wanted the board's consideration.
Okay. Do we have those items here, staff, or is that something that's going to come up?
That discussion will be wrapped up into the budget discussion. On the first board meeting in June, we'll be bringing the budget in detail to the board, and that will include the proposed sponsorship budget item by item. What Director Robert was referencing is there had been a request from AWA that for the next year, we increase our sponsorship contribution to the symposium from the $5,000 or championship level to the $7,500 or title sponsorship level. And the sponsorship committee alternatively talked about perhaps allocating that $2,500 to another organization like Water Education for Latino Leaders or WELL. So we're including that $2,500 in the budget, but it will be listed as discretionary with the idea that the board will give us clear direction how they wish to proceed on that at the budget discussion in June.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what a great idea. I mean, there's so many organizations that we partake in, and it's good that, we spread that out.
If I could also is it okay if I highlight one other thing from that discussion?
I was going to highlight the other one. Is that the same? Are we going to highlight the same one?
I don't know. You go first and we'll see.
I do remember there was a discussion about sponsoring students to attend symposiums, or I was going to suggest other water events as well, Southern California Water Coalition and such and things like that. And I did throw out a suggestion out there. I know, I don't know how the rest of the board would feel about it, but for myself, I said that I would personally sponsor one of the students selected to attend the symposium, and that's about $125, correct, Christine?
Yeah, I think if we do it not, so to clarify, we have already committed to sponsoring 4 students through AWA. And what AWA does is they work with Cal State Channel Islands and Ventura College specifically to bring in students with their professors. We've committed to 4 of those. Those are $125. If we sponsor them directly ourselves, I think it's a little more. We were looking into that. And what we are moving forward with already, Jen Vasquez has already distributed through her various college connection channels a call for students to request to be sponsored for the event, and they just have to respond with, she laid out 2 different prompts about why they would want to attend. Those are due on April 10th, and then we'll make a decision to move forward. I think we were talking about maybe doing just 2, we were gonna see what kind of feedback we get. Because the event's in 2 weeks and I don't know if students are available. So we were piloting it this year. And I certainly don't see any reason why individual board members couldn't also choose to sponsor if they are so inclined. I'm sure Dan can figure out a way to make that work.
Well, if board members are sponsoring, I'll sponsor one too.
Yeah, I had jumped on the idea with President Avila. I think it's a great idea, and it's one of my big as far as workforce development, I think starting with our students is a fantastic way to get people interested in water. So I supported that as well, and I was willing to also sponsor a student to attend the symposium. I think they get to meet all the individuals, and they get some FaceTime, and they get discussion, and they get to talk about what they've been doing, and they get to talk to people who have been in the business for a long time. And so I supported as well, and was willing to sponsor.
All right, well, let's see what kind of response we get in terms of submissions by the 10th, and then I'll coordinate with board members on that effort. I think it's fantastic. And I agree, President Avila, that it's something that could be applied to other water events as well. The next Southern California Water Coalition event is in Temecula at a winery, so probably not the event we want to invite a bunch of students to, but the next time they have their quarterly luncheon up here, then that's absolutely something we should consider.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, thank you very much.
There could always be the Aqua Regional event.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's another good idea. And they already announced a date for that.
Yes.
On June 26th.
Subject as well.
No, just a date. Do you have a subject in sight?
Yeah, it's about AI.
Oh, fantastic.
Fun. It's a great one. Okay. Up next, we have director's list of admin code reimbursable meetings. Let's go get started with Director Quady.
No pressure. Okay. On 3/19, it was the Aqua Regional Work Plan reports. And on 3/20, there's an Aqua Executive Board meeting. And I'm going to take a moment of privilege here and talk about something that I thought was the most exciting highlight for me coming out of that meeting. And that was that on December 2nd, 2025, Aqua's Water Management Committee approved the following. It moved that the Water Management Committee recommend the Aqua Board of Directors develop criteria to identify projects of statewide significance, including the Delta Conveyance Project, among others, and formalize a process whereby Aqua can arrive at a position on such projects after soliciting input from its diverse membership. So that was approved by the board. So the process mechanism is going forward, and each region will have a representative, and our representative will be the chair of Region 8, Dr. Tony Feld, and every other region will have one, as well as the vice president and president of Aqua, and I think there's somebody I'm missing there in Aqua, but anyway, so I was pretty stoked about that change out of all the years I've been here. On the 3/23 and 3/30, those are Aqua closed sessions and tonight's board meeting.
Okay, thank you, Director Quady. Director Pacala.
Thank you. On March 18th, after March 18th, our board meeting, I attended on March 19th, Waterworks District 1, CAC sewer rate review in Moore Park. On March 25th, I attended GM board meeting in Ventura. On March 30th, I attended sponsorship committee meeting for Calleguas committee. March 26th, purveyors meeting. And same day, I attended VCREA reception at the Agricultural Museum in Santa Paula. At that meeting, they announced that they got $1 million for climate action plan. They were all excited about it. They also discussed future of BCRA. They believe they have enough funding. They will continue to move forward with their mission. And today's board meeting.
Okay, thank you, Director Pacala. Director McMillan.
Yes, for Calleguas, March 19th, I attended Alwa's WaterWise program. March 20th, I did cyber training via webinar. March 26th, the purveyors meeting. March 30th, the sponsorship committee. April 1st, tonight's board meeting, and for Metropolitan on the 23rd and 24th, MWD committee and executive committee. March 25th, Alwa's luncheon at the Orchard Building in Camarillo, and March 31st, CSDA AI webinar.
Okay, thank you, Director McMillan. Director Robert.
Yes, thank you. I found my mute button, or my unmute button. On the 19th, AWA WaterWise, on the 31st, the Calleguas Sponsorship Committee, and tonight's board meeting.
Okay, thank you, Director Robert. For myself, since I'm very far away from my desk at home, I don't have my book with me, but I did attend the same Aqua exec board meetings that Director Quady attended, the closed sessions that he attended. And I also attended the sponsorship committee after that closed session last week and tonight's board meeting, but I'll get exact dates out at the next board meeting. Okay. All right, and with that, do we have requests for future agenda items?
Coming meetings.
Did we skip?
I believe, Director Pacala, did you want to agendize the committee assignments?
Oh, Director Roberts, I was asking, are we doing upcoming meetings?
Yeah, I think we skipped 8.3. 8C3.
Oh, okay, did I skip one? I'm sorry.
Yep, no worries.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see it on my agenda here. Discussion regarding upcoming meetings to be attended by board members.
I just want to make sure all the board members are aware that there will be a groundbreaking for the Las Virgenes Triunfo JPA's Pure Water Project next Friday at 11 a.m. There should be an email in your inbox. This is an invitation-only event, not the big public one, but you are all invited.
Okay. Thank you. All right, any other items by the board?
Yes, upcoming meetings on April 9th, I will be attending Waterworks District Fund Water Rate Review. On April 10th, I'll be attending GMA board meeting.
Okay, thank you, Director Pacala. Okay, up next, we have a request for future agenda items.
Yes, I would like to have a review of our committees for our review. As I was discussing in our item, we have opportunity maybe to combine several of those, maybe maximum of 4 committees that may help us streamline the process and we can manage our time better.
So it sounds like a committee structure.
Committee structure, yes.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry. Some of those things, I'm not sure how this is going to land, but out of the committee experience recently, I'm kind of wondering how much of it is admin code review. But one of the things I noticed on this last package is that committees hold at the convenience of board members these dates, and there were some changes on one of the committees, and that the one day Director Pacala and I showed up and there was no meeting, and so I'm just wondering if something can be done on a doodle poll process and lock into schedule with any 2 of the committee members to be able to attend, and then also review maybe maximum conferences of board members. Also the board votes basically to evaluate maximum involvement of based on a whole board strategy. To discontinue standard stipend values. I think there's a statute that I can't, that's kind of mute, but, and then length of stay. So that, I don't know if that's, but it is part of what I got out of the committee process review.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying, so I want to kind of
Those
break
are
this down
two separate things.
into
So we have
pieces.
we have one for committee structures, which is part of the admin code. And Director Quady would like review also of the admin code on board compensation and board travel stipends.
That's about right.
Okay, it sounded like one of the questions you were asking was if we could have more flexibility in who attends the committee meetings.
Actually, to be able to not put staff under pressure to have to keep coming up with dates. Changes from the board members if they cannot attend. And as long as if at least two can attend, they should be able to hold the committee meeting.
I would ask legal counsel to voice that, to address that issue.
Well, yeah, I mean, each committee has two with an alternate, correct?
Correct. So if
Okay,
an alternate.
so the initial preference is for the first two who are assigned to the committee to attend. If one of those cannot, typically the alternate is supposed to fill the role. Yeah, I think you're speaking more in terms of kind of a round robin, and any two out of the three that can jump in would constitute a committee. And I think the typical process is to go kind of down the line. The head of the committee, they make it, and the second make it. If they can't, if either of them can't make it, then you go to
Council, is there a limit on the number of alternates we can list?
Yes, if you begin to list essentially more than one alternate, you're starting to implicate Brown Act problems, because over the course of multiple committee meetings, you could eventually have 4 or 5 board members attending the same committee, transferring information and transferring their thoughts about a particular issue for that committee, which would essentially be a de facto board meeting if you have enough board members meeting about a particular issue.
With that argument, with 2 and an alternate, you get the same thing. You have 3 board members, and at that point you have a quorum. So, I'm just wondering how it all works and
that's why
attendance.
Emphasized over multiple committee meetings. Yeah, the alternate is a standard practice that everybody typically uses. My concern would be, again, if more than the 2 and the alternate, if 4 or 5 board members ultimately started to meet across multiple committee meetings, that's the scenario where you start to get into Brown Act issue. But we can look at that more offline.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I gave the impression about a round robin. That's not what I'm saying. It's just of the 3 that are in line, you have a chair, committee member, and an alternate. If any 2 of those is what I was saying, any 2 of those can make the meeting, then the meeting should go forward.
Yes, but in the instance you're referring to, the last ENC committee meeting, I only found out at 8 a.m. that Director Robert was going to be unable to attend, and I wasn't able to confirm your attendance as the alternate via text, so we had no choice but to cancel the meeting. I didn't know if you were coming or not.
And I apologize. I would have given more advanced notice, but I was not aware of my schedule's changing, and I had something that I could not move. So I do apologize for that.
Maybe in the future, Christian, could we have waited to see alternate members show up and see if not, we'll cancel?
I mean, that is an option. I couldn't reach either of you that morning to confirm. I didn't want you to make the trip if we weren't having a meeting, which is what ended up happening. So, I mean, it was an unfortunate situation. We had so little notice, and I didn't get responses from anyone.
Yeah.
So I didn't know who was going to be here.
So as far as some of us, I mean, especially those board members who are full-time working, I can understand their crunch or when they have to go to some meetings and suddenly they have to cancel it. One of the thought I have is for any of our committees, we should not have 2 working board members on the same committee. There should be at least only one of them should be in each committee. Maybe they could be alternate, but not on the committee. That will reduce any cancellation of meetings.
We have that
No,
now.
what about
I
it when we do the restructure?
I did look through the list. That was part of my considerations when I went through the list earlier. And we weren't both on any of them except for the ad hoc housing committee. And my schedule is also very different from Director Roberts' schedule. So, there I make myself available, I use my leave, but there's of course meetings that he can't miss sometimes. So I don't know that would make a huge difference.
Usually, let me put it this way: it hasn't been an issue in my almost 4 years on the board. It's just, eventually an issue will present itself. That being said, for that meeting that I couldn't attend, I did discuss with Christine and say, if Director Bacala and Director Quady can attend, that's fine. I'm all for it continuing on without me. And for that committee cancellation, the employment status of the directors wouldn't have mattered. So, yeah. And again, I just want to apologize again for that. I try to schedule committee meetings towards the afternoons when I tend to be more available. Right now, there's been a lot going on.
For Monday's ENC committee meeting, if something comes up, Director Robert, and you're unable to attend, Director Quady, will you be here?
I will not be able to attend.
Okay, so we know now we must have Directors Robert and Bacala present because our alternate is not available.
I plan to be here.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
I also plan to be there like I had planned to be at the last one. I just, if the world has other plans, sometimes things change. But I as far as I know, I plan to be there.
I hope the world allows that to happen.
Well, and this one's in the afternoon now, whereas the other one we planned it earlier in the day. So this has a higher likelihood of success.
Okay. Thank you. So going back to future agenda items, we're going to be doing the 2 topics. And do you have those written down, Christine?
Well, I wanted to make sure I understood them. One is to revisit the committee structure.
Mm-hmm.
And then Director Quady wanted to look at maximum conferences and reimbursements, or
Yes, and also it was the doodle poll thing that would just give staff a heads up. Kind of want to remove the pressure from staff and having the struggle to get board members to be around.
If I may interject for just a second, I know I had discussed with the general manager about some of the committees being eligible for like remote access, being of my further location from the district. If there is a committee of concern, maybe we can, I know that there is a way, it's not the most convenient way, and we'll have to confer with council, but we may also be able to consider that, and that would reduce the chance of having to reschedule.
yes. So to clarify what's involved in that process, with the changes to the Brown Act that were made last year, that became effective on January 1st.
I'm sorry, is this a future agenda item? Or are we going to
Yes.
put this okay.
I want to explain what the future agenda item would entail so that everyone understands.
Thank you.
The option for there is flexibility for committees, standing committees, not just ad hocs, to have a remote option. It would require that we still have an in-person location to meet within the district. That's not a problem. It would require that the board approve each committee meeting remotely, as well as each committee meeting in person to authorize themselves to meet remotely.
It has to be done every 6 months.
And it has to be done every 6 months. So that tool is available to us. The way we could make it work probably most efficiently is to have a board meeting where we know we're gonna have all the board members in person, which, as far as I know, I think is next on April 29th. And have the board meeting, take that action, and then have each committee convene, act, adjourn in succession. And then we do that every 6 months.
Sounds tough.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't want to pursue that if we didn't need to, but if it increases, or if it reduces the inconvenience to other board members, I'm happy to try to explore options I really hate wasting people's
Yeah.
time, and so I feel bad about that.
Director Robert, I just want to make sure we stay on track here. So for future agenda items, we have those two topics, and we can expect to see those in an upcoming board meeting.
Yes, committee structure and elements of the admin code that address the board's maximum allowable conferences, stipend, maximum conferences and expenses. The stipend issue will also come up separately in the coming months. I need to coordinate with legal counsel and Tricia on exact timing for that.
Okay. Thank you very much. Moving on to the next item, board comments. Do we have comments by the board? Okay. Information items. We have a coalition support letter to Chair Henry Stern, and anything to report on that, or has everyone had a chance to review it? Okay, thank you. Do we have a need for a closed session?
No closed session.
No closed session. Thank you. And 3:16, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.